Okay, so welcome back. This is part 5, and we've went into 3D modeling and kind of branched away from 3D printing for the moment. So, like I said, one of the drawbacks to 3D printing is outside of just downloading a file and printing whatever was designed by somebody else, you do need to learn some 3D modeling skills. And the learning curve is very extreme. Tinkercad kind of helps you with that, takes you with little basic shapes, and you can combine basic shapes and make more complex shapes. Now, with the different 3D modeling softwares that you can use, Tinkercad being pretty basic, you can get into another one called Blender, and it gets pretty extreme. It has its own learning curve just for that program, let alone trying to understand 3D design and also 3D construction, whatever you want to call it. But once you go into 3D design, then sure, you can go ahead and export the file out, and then you can print whatever it is you created, and that's where the 3D printing community comes in handy. But you can also take this 3D model, for example, let's just say it's this little box I have here, and I can use this model, this 3D model, and if for some reason I wanted to add legs to it or whatever the case was, maybe give it some eyes, I can send this over to an animation program to animate whatever I need it to be. And then you could take it one step further, in this little box I have that potentially could be singing and dancing, I can now use that in the realm of, let's just say, movies, for example. So once I have this 3D model, then you can get into 3D effects of movies, TV shows, anything, video games, huge. And I know a few 3D extremely capable 3D modeling people, and they branch into video games. Or if you wanted to, we can take this singing and potentially dancing box that I've created here, and who knows, maybe it might be in the next Toy Story movie. We might call it I don't know, Blocky. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to this. So pick up where we left off. My sides are 4 millimeters. My bottom, or back as it will end up being, is 4 millimeters thick as well. So with my light box, I have a light fixture, and I know that it is 12 millimeters around, and I need my lithophane to sit inside this box, and also need holes for this light fixture to come in and shine the light to really light these lithophanes up. So I need to go ahead and make a hole. The only thing is I need to make a cylinder hole. So I'm going to come over here and select this, and like I said, I know it's 12 millimeters, so once again I'm going to change my sizing to 12 by 12. And now I'm just going to move this into position. I'm going to eyeball it and try to get it as centered as I can. So I'm going to call that centered. Once again, I'm just selecting all of them. I'm going to combine them right up here, or group them as it says. Once I group it, now it just made a hole. So now I have a hole for my light fixture to come through. Now, one thing I also need is, I can't put my lithophane directly into this box because it will sit on the light bulb, so to speak. But what I do need is some support to keep it up from it and sit flush with the top lip. So I'm actually going to change my sizing just by trial and error. I figured out what I like. So right now this box is 20 millimeters tall. I'm actually going to increase that to 25. and I'm going to put my supports in. So I'm coming over here and just grabbing a wedge, and there's a ability to rotate your item, so I'm just going to rotate it so you can see it now, and I'm going to treat it the same way as anything else. Just going to move it to where I need it to be. So in this case I want it in the corner, and I'm trying to be mindful right through here. I want to make sure that I'm actually sitting, I'm going to call it inside the wall, so that it's one piece when I group them back together. So I will just move it into position, and I'll just change my camera angle and make sure there's no gaps, and it looks like there might be a small one, so that looks pretty good. Now one thing I need to do is, I know the thickness of my lithophane. When I actually measure it out, it ends up being 8 millimeters thick. Actually, I'm going to remeasure just to make sure I'm correct, so I don't waste my time and yours. Yes, it's 8 millimeters thick. So I need to make sure that the top lip of this box and the top of the support wedge is a difference of 8. So I know my box here is 25 total, and I know my wedge is 20, which is only a difference of 5, so I need to change this, and let's drop it down to 17. So 17 plus 8 gives me the 25, so it should sit pretty flush with the lip. Now that takes care of one corner, but what about the other corners? That's pretty straightforward. I'm actually going to just select my wedge, and I'm just going to copy it, and I'm going to, that's all up here in copy, and you can delete if you don't like it or whatever. And of course there's the undo and redo, but for the time being I'm just going to select these and move them out and position them the way I need them to be. So I'm just going to rotate it around, and then I'm going to put it into position where it needs to be. So just bear with me a little bit. My skills are not the best. There's probably a much quicker way. Some people are probably screaming, well, you could just type it in. And you're right, I could have. But sometimes my brain doesn't work that way. And like I say, once again, I'm just trying to make sure that we're all together in place. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just need it to be functional. So everything looks okay. So I have my supports there. Once again, just selecting all of them, and I'm going to come up here and group them together. So now I have one solid piece and it has supports. The difference between the top of the wedge and the box is the 8 millimeters that I need for my lithophane to sit on top of it, which also serves the purpose of keeping it off the bulb that's going to come through here. Also discovered through trial and error that putting the bulb through the back of the light bulb, or the light box, that light bulb almost has a flashlight effect sometimes, depending on the lithophane and how it's designed. So I need to really disperse the light, and I also want to give myself some options for how I'm going to light it. The item I use is a mini LED light. It runs off of 3 LR41 batteries, and self-contained. So it's a very simple solution to what could have been a complex problem. I don't have to worry about having battery packs. I don't have to worry about running wires, be it a USB cord to power it, or God forbid an actual power cord to plug into the wall. So anyway, I need some more options, and what I found out to disperse the light and give myself plenty of options is I need some more of these holes. So once again, I'm going to grab this. I'm going to make it the same as my other. It needs to be 12. It needs to be 12. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to copy it again. 1, 2, 3. So I have 4 total. And I'm just going to move these out to where I can use them. So I'm changing my views and stuff, and hopefully not giving you whiplash. But I need to rotate these. And yes, I know you're telling me I could just type it in to 90 and it would have been real quick and easy. Now you also notice here, you'll see the shadow perhaps. You'll notice that these, since they were rotated, they were moved off of the 0 point on my plane, which is okay because like I did before, I can use this little arrow and we can pull it up in the air or do whatever we need. Which in this case I do need it to be up a little bit because I know the thickness of my bottom or my back wall, as it will be, is 4. So I actually want this hole to be pretty centered in the wall, side walls. So I need to make sure it's at least more than 4. So 3 above 4 sounds good to me, so we're going to call it 7. And now once again I'm just going to take this and put it into position, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Oops, messed that up, so right back over here to undo. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to try to line it up and center it about the best I can. So that takes care of that one. Let's grab this one, let's move it over there. Let's take a look. Yeah, we're not centered. Oh, messed it up again. And that's okay. Like I said, it's a learning process as we go. So, pretty centered to me. Only thing is, I don't like how low it is, so I'll actually raise it up just a little bit because I need it to match my other one, which was 7. Which, taking a look at it, I don't like it. I'm actually going to drop it to 6. And I'm going to come around here and do the same thing. Once again, just using that arrow up top and just dropping it down. And it tells me that it was 6. So it keeps track of it for me. So now, that takes care of 2. Now, I need to spin these around. Yes, I know. Type it in. It's so much faster. You don't waste my time. I know. Trust me. So, same thing. Just put them in place. And keep in mind, they don't need to be lined up perfectly because these are just holes. And now, need to make sure that I'm sitting at 6. Nice number that I like. I think it will work out okay. So there we go. How are we doing on the centering? Looks okay there. Look like we might be off just a little bit here. So I know you OCD people, man. You're freaking out on me. I know how it goes. Okay, so anyway, continuing. I now have holes, but in order to form them, I need to select everything. And once again, I'm coming up here and I'm grouping. So now we have holes in all sides. which gives me the option of adding in light from different directions when the back doesn't work the way I want it to. And also at the same time, I'm thinking if I put this lithophane together and it's lit up and everything, and people set it on their counter and they go, ooh, that's so cool, they actually might want to put it up on their wall. So I'm going to try to think about you guys out there, and I'm going to drop another wedge in here. And you're going to see what I do with this. Yes, type it in. I'm also going to come here and I'm going to make it a hole. And then we're just going to kind of move it into position here. And let's spin it around a little bit more. Maybe something like that. And let's change our size a little bit. Let's make it more, I don't know, it looks good to me. Let's move it, let's try to center it up best we can. And since it's a hole, once again, just select it, I'm going to group it. Now we have a hole. And if you're going to do portrait, then you got to do landscape. So let's grab another wedge. Oh, spun it the wrong way. Once again, it's all about playing with your view. Now I'm just going to move it in, and let's go ahead and rotate it around a little bit here. There we go. And size wise, we'll go for that. Oops, undo, thank you. Let's try to get it halfway centered, and let's go ahead and make a hole. Once again, selecting everything together and grouping it. So now, what did I just do? I have 4 holes that's going to be able to handle my light fixtures, along with the one in the back. I also have my supports for my lithophane to sit down inside of this box and be flush against the top edge. And can you figure out what the triangles were for? The triangles are for hanging it on the wall so that you can hang it on a nail. So guess what? We're done. Didn't take forever, took a little bit of time. And if you have been hearing any noise in the background with these videos, I can tell you more likely it was the 3D printer that is currently printing a 5x7 light box, which you'll see videos of that too. So I think for my purposes, I'm pretty happy with this. So what I'm going to do is come up here to export, which is download and 3D print it. So I'm just going to export it. It's going to ask me what format, so I can make it straight into a 3D printer file and don't have to take the step of the slicing program, which would be an absolute nightmare. You see there's also an option for laser cutting, but slicing programs use STL, so that's what I'm going to export as. And it's going to tell me I downloaded it. I'm going to click here and it's going to open up Cura, which is the slicing program, one of the more popular ones. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and pause this video, give it an ending, and hopefully you stick around. And we'll do, I believe it's part 6, and part 6 will probably finish it for now. As you can see, the time is very late. So if you're up for it, part 6 is coming, and I can show you just a little bit of what a slicing program is. And you see it looks a little bit like a 3D design program. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there. Hope you come back.